Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. In this, our April 28th, 2025 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including the court case for the battle for the international rights for Superman, what's happened there. We're going to be talking about some of the latest images, some of the latest merchandise coming out about the new Superman movie. We've got plenty to get through. It's the end of the month, so we've got our regular segments, the super secret soundbite, we've got our fan favorite question, and so much else that we need to get through tonight. And joining me, as always, are my good friends and co-hosts, Michael Bailey and Mark Lax.
Hey,
Hey, Michael, how are you?
hey, doing great. How are you?
Not too bad. And Mark, nice hat.
Yeah, thank you. I still don't know if it fits that well, but okay.
Very nice.
Worth a
Excellent. Well,
shot. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Thank you to our sponsors and our patrons, first and foremost. We want to thank them, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, Tina Murray, and Rick Schutzow. Thank you so much for your support. And if you'd like to join those fine folks and be a supporter of the Superman homepage website and our live show, then all you have to do is on YouTube, you can click the join button. There are different levels of membership with different levels of perks, or you can head to patreon.com/Superman homepage. We'd love to have you as a supporter of our show. And we want to also thank those who are tuning in live to watch with us tonight, whether you're doing that across Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. Thank you so much for your company. And Michael, they can become involved in the show tonight. They can get involved, I should say. How do they go about doing that?
Oh, all they have to do is go to www.supermanhomepage.com/live and press the call now button, where they will be instantly transported. Well, not physically, but they'll go on the website, they'll go to the green room, and they can watch the show as we're doing everything with the show. They can also use their smartphone to scan the QR code and get into the same thing that way. If you are watching the show on your computer or your laptop, desktop, whatever, and you're using an external speaker and we do have you on the show, please mute that because we are on a bit of a delay and that can cause some issues. If you are using your smartphone, please use your headset or your AirPods or whatever, because the speakerphone thing just doesn't work out with what we do.
Yeah. So either way, make sure you get your headphones on if you do call in tonight. We want to also let you know that if you're a little bit shy, don't want to get on the phone, but you want to have your say, you can participate in the comments there, both on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. The three of us can see what you're saying. So if you have any questions or comments you might want to ask during the show, feel free to post your comment or question, and we will react to those as we go along tonight. If you're on YouTube and you want your question or your comment featured on the screen during the show, that is called a super chat. All you have to do is click the dollar symbol there. A slider will appear on your screen. You decide on a dollar amount you're willing to donate, and we'll feature your comment or question on the screen as we go live tonight. There are also super stickers and super thanks if you want to give those a try as well. All right, and if you're on Instagram and you're not seeing the full picture, you're only seeing me in the middle, then feel free to go to our website, supermanhomepage.com/live, where you can see the full widescreen video. All right, let's get into tonight's topics. And the main one off the bat, which was our graphic for tonight's show, was the news that the international movie rights, or the international rights in general for Superman, were being contested in the courts, with the Schuster estate looking to challenge the international rights to the character of Superman. And Warner Brothers has been successful. A federal judge on last Thursday dismissed the lawsuit from the co-creator Joe Shuster's estate, and the international foreign copyrights that were looking like they might kind of hamper the film's release in the UK, Ireland, Australia, and Canada. Now that's all been resolved and that's all going ahead, so there is no problems with that intellectual property dispute hanging over our heads any longer. Good news for fans.
Yeah, I think the main issue was that the federal court felt that they didn't have any jurisdiction over the international rights of the film. Which I was talking about this with some people earlier today, and one of them brought up the question, well, why don't they just sue them in, the UK courts and stuff like that, where they'll actually have a better shot at getting something? And I think the answer to that is that at the end of the day, they were looking for money. Now, I'm not sitting here saying this is great because Warner Brothers won, because Warner Brothers uh, is a massive corporation that, it's not like it would really impact them too much to toss a few shekels towards Joe Shuster's family. But at the same time, the timing of this was just weird. There's no real good guys or even bad guys in this whole thing. It's just this really weird set of circumstances. But yeah, if they really wanted to go after him, they should go after him in the courts of those countries. Now, I don't know if that's just really expensive to do and that's cost prohibitive. But yeah, this wasn't good news. It wasn't bad news. It was whelming news.
Yeah, Mark, what did
Yeah,
you make of it all?
no matter how you see it, I mean, I was pretty sure there wasn't going to be much of a problem. I mean, however you look at it, Warner Brothers, no Warner Brothers. I didn't. I just figured at the end of the day, it was either going to be thrown out, or there'd be some kind of settlement, or there'd be something. And wasn't worried
Mm.
that this was really going to affect anything. I really thought like it happened in the end. It would be either thrown out or some kind of settlement. So this does not surprise me. I'm happy that it's going to be able to be released, across the planet. Um, again, however you look at it, I think it's good news.
Yeah. Spencer Coots in the Instagram comments saying exactly what was the issue, is confused. The issue was that the estate of Joe Shuster, who was the co-creator of Superman, sought to reclaim the foreign copyright ownership of the character in those jurisdictions, as I mentioned. And as Michael said, it seemed like a money grab. And we're not here to toot the horn of Warner Brothers or anything like that. It's just as Michael said, the timing seemed a little bit quirky, and it looked like a money grab. But it's not the first time that the character has been subject to the copyright issues or disputes. It's many decades going back to the 1940s, 1950s that it's always been a case. So it's just the latest in a long line of legal battles that have gone on over the rights to Superman. And I'm sure there'll be some more coming up, because it won't be long before the 1938 version of the character falls into the public domain. So we'll have to wait and see how all that pans out. But for the time being, for fans in Canada, the UK, Australia, and Ireland who were worried about whether or not the film would be released in their location, you can rest easy. It will not be a problem. All right, so with that out of the way, let's move on to looking at what has happened around about the movie this past week. There was a episode of the official DC Studios podcast called Showcase, episode 11, I think it was, that interviewed Skylar Gazondo, who plays Jimmy Olsen, Beck Bennett, who is Steve Lombard, and Michaela Hoover, who is playing Cat Grant in the upcoming film. That video podcast, is up on the YouTube, and we kind of did a little bit of a deep dive into what was said in the interview. Here is a little bit of what Skylar Gazondo had to say about the research, or lack of, that he did for playing Jimmy Olsen.
Very deep research,
Yeah.
not unlike how I would imagine Daniel Day-Lewis approaches his roles, entrenched. I really did, before we did the movie, in a very sweet way. When you're doing Superman, everyone in your life in this very well-intentioned way is like, holy shit, Superman, are you like... So in an attempt to not spiral and like freak out, I was kind of like, that's just it's gonna be fun, it's not a big deal. Like, and I almost intentionally didn't want to dive into like the history and just feel this like weight of like, holy shit, we have such a responsibility to get this right, and like, look, everyone who's come before us, and like, so I kind of just came in freestyling, man. So hopefully that works.
So you can't.
Well, that's just a little bit of what he had to say about his lack of research, kind of just going in and freestyling it, which is probably, I mean, I think everybody at this point in time knows who these characters are. And, you know, if you know basically who Jimmy Olsen is, and you don't have to do any massive research, reading a comic or two wouldn't hurt. But, I think the script and the director will give you the direction you need into being, how you're going to, what kind of handle you're going to have on this character and how you're going to portray him. But yeah, interesting that you hear a lot of these actors who are playing these iconic roles a lot of the time saying that. I purposely decided not to go watch any other previous versions because I didn't want to be copying, or I didn't want to be weighed down by that material.
Yeah, I mean, it worked for Tyler Hoechlin. He didn't watch any of the previous versions of Superman outside of maybe Lois and Clark. I think he said he watched that as a kid, but when it comes to like the Christopher Reeve movies and all that, he didn't go back and watch that, and his performance was fine. This is one of those areas where it can get fans, especially comic book fans, can get kind of up in arms because they're not trusting the source material. But when you're playing Jimmy Olsen, what source material do you read? Do you go back to the radio show? Do you go to the Superman's Pal Jimmy Olsen series from the 60s? I think if he was going to read anything, it would have should have just been All-Star Superman, and that would have probably given him his in, since that's such a big influence on the film. But at the same time, the character, when you're playing side characters like that, supporting characters, it's in the script. And you're trying to serve the movie you're making, not trying to be, just being completely faithful to the source material. So I think that was I think that's just as valid an approach as diving into everything and just absorbing everything you can.
Yeah, whatever works for you. Sith Happens in the comments says that he heard that Crypto, the Superdog, didn't do any research or read any comics either. So,
well, we're not supposed to talk about it, but he was like a prima donna, from what I understand. Just he had to have room temperature Evian water in his bowl at all times, and it had to be a certain level at all times. And he didn't want any kind of Alpo brands. It was a whole thing. We're not supposed to talk about it because it was told to us in confidence, but still.
Yeah. I do think there should be some knowledge of the character,
Sure,
that you're going to play. I don't think, again, now you don't have to immerse yourself in all comics and movies. I mean, I think if you're not that familiar with the character, the least you can do, if you're not familiar with Jimmy Olsen, is at least go back and watch a couple of movies or a couple of shows, just get a sense of who the character is supposed to be.
Yeah.
That'll at least give you an idea, of who it is. Yes, it would be nice if they could read some comics, but again, like Mike said, where do you go, especially with Jimmy Olsen?
Yeah.
Where do you go? Where do you look? And to me,
Turtle Man.
To me, there's Jack Larson and Mark McClure, and I guess maybe what was maybe. Well, either of the Jimmy Olsen's on Lois and Clark. I mean, just that, at least that whole thing will give you a sense of who the character is supposed to be, and then you could do your own thing. It just gives you an idea of, okay, he's either the photographer, or he's the cub reporter, or and it gives you an idea of who he is. And I think you should at least kind of do something like that, because oddly enough, there are people who might not have any idea who Jimmy Olsen really is, or any of these characters. I mean, yeah, you hear of them. Doesn't mean you've seen the movies or read the comics.
Yeah.
So I think you should do a little bit of research, at least, to get an idea who the character is.
Yeah, interesting. So you can watch the whole video. There's obviously the Beck Bennett one talking about Steve Lombard and how he developed a signature power stance with his hands on his hips for the character. He calls Steve the Daily Planet douchebag, and
then he must have read the comics.
Yeah,
yeah. I was about to say that is comic book accurate. So I'm glad they're going in that direction.
Yeah, and as far as Michaela Hoover playing Cat Grant, She says she's a self-absorbed gossip columnist who's a lot smarter than she comes off as. Said she found similarities between herself and their character, although she did note that she's more filtered than Kat. And so, yeah, there's the whole podcast episode available up on our website if you want to check it out. And the article that goes underneath it gives you a bit of a deep dive into some of the key things that were said. So definitely check that out. Today we got a new image from USA Today. They did an article about the top 15 must-see movies of this summer. When I say this summer, I'm talking about the American summer. So this image was released today as part of... Where is it? Here we go. This was a new still from the film. It shows Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane there on the left, and obviously David Corenswet playing Superman there on the right. And it looks like there's a bit of rubble in the background. We saw some of this being filmed on location, and you can see the Meteors sign there in the background. So obviously on the streets of Metropolis. But yeah, interesting article also talking about the top 15 must-see movies of this summer, Superman obviously being one of them. And this image was part of that article from USA Today.
You know, the more I see that costume, the more I like it. The more it just grows on me, and the more it looks just natural. And I guess I just had to get used to it to a certain extent. It's not like I hated it from the start, but it's just the more I see of him in the costume, the more it just looks really, really good.
Yeah, and Lois is wearing purple.
Yep.
Yes. She has. I doubt her eyes will be, but I like that she's wearing purple. Maybe she's wearing more purple, in the movie too. I hope so.
Yeah, look, I'm with you, Michael. The more I see the costume, the more I forget that it's not like the traditional classic. Yeah, we love the fact that there's the red trunks are back. The collar is always the issue for me. Like didn't like it in the New 52. I'm not so worried about not being tight fitting and not being, the whole, body hugging thing, that it's a bit looser. I don't mind that to an extent. We don't know where this costume came from in the story as far as its origin. Was it Kryptonian? Did Martha make it? Is it something that it was given to him by Maxwell Lord's, because it kind of seems similar in design to some of the other costumes, although they're more jackets and things like that. We don't know the origins of where the costume came from in this, and we don't know how many versions of the costume there will be in the film. But yeah, the cape looks awesome. I love the cape. I think that's probably the best thing about the whole costume. But yeah, it's kind of growing on me. The more I see it, it's becoming less and less of an issue. And hopefully that'll be the case for a lot of people. It's just, we're looking at it in stills and we're kind of picking it apart. But for the most part, when we're seeing it in action, it kind of just becomes Superman's costume.
Yeah, I mean, look. Oh, I'm sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
No. I'm saying, yeah, I was just agreeing that, yeah. Let me just say, I totally agree with you guys. The piping, I have a little bit of problem with, but that's just a little nitpick. Other than that, I mean, every time I see it, it's like, yeah, that's Superman. I mean, we see it more. We've been seeing it so often. We, of course, probably see it a little more than other people. But yeah, I mean, you see it so often. It's like, yeah, that guy's Superman. Sure, that's Superman. You could just, and like you said, the cape is fantastic. And the symbol right here. I'm really getting used to that symbol.
Yeah.
At first, I was kind of like, well, I don't know. I know it's something new, something different, but now I'm really starting to like it.
And I think really when you go back to like Superman Returns and Man of Steel, how normalized those costumes became, like really quickly. Like for years after Superman Returns until Man of Steel, like whenever there was like mock-up art of like a Superman Batman film or anything, it was always the Brandon Routh costume. And then for a couple years, it was the Henry Cavill costume. So it's just, I think it's just this really interesting, I don't even know what to call it. It's this effect that no matter what the costume is, it somehow becomes normalized very quickly because you're just exposed to it again and again and again.
Yeah, I think normalized is the word that is the key phrase there. That it just becomes the norm. You just get used to it. In the comments, Darth Tatonka says, doesn't the Kingdom Come logo just bug you guys a bit, or give you too much of a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe? No, initially it was something like I was like, oh, I wish they had just gone with the classic S, and same with the design of the costume, But then I had the same feeling with Man of Steel. Like, why didn't they put the red trunks on there, and why isn't the S on the cape? And then I had the same problem with Superman Returns, the Brandon Routh costume. I thought that the trunks were a little too much like a Speedo, and I didn't like certain things about the S, the way it kind of was very 3D on the chest. But then it just became, as you said, normalized, and we got used to it. And so but it's still Superman. So yeah, there are tweaks that I would have done differently, but overall, it's a great look.
Yeah, and for me personally, I've recently done a deep dive into Thy Kingdom Come, the JSA storyline, where the Kingdom Come Superman comes to that Earth, and I have just about every Kingdom Come action figure that they've released, both in DC Direct and all that. I haven't gotten the recent Page Puncher yet, but. And that just feels weird to say, by the way. I really hate that term, Page Puncher. But I love that logo. I think it's one of those variations on the S that works perfect, especially for the story they're telling. And all they really did was just give it a yellow outline and change the black to yellow on the S itself, and it's going to fit this version of Superman. So that's really where I'm coming from on it.
Yep, indeed. All right. Well, if you're in Japan, you're very lucky, because at the moment you can already pre-purchase your tickets to see this movie. Pre-sale of tickets for the Superman film went on sale in Japan this past week via the official Superman movie website, and it comes out July 11th, just like it does there in the US. So fans can now secure their seats through the official website and various ticketing platforms across the country. So obviously the IMAX version format will probably be a popular choice. But there you go. If you're in Japan, go for it, which I think GU3 Art in the Instagram is just freaking out at the moment, because it looks like he is in Japan and didn't realize. So there you go. We broke some news for you. Go and buy your tickets right now. So yeah,
international audience. Tickets. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So there you go. That's awesome news. I love that that these guys are in Japan and finding out the news live right here on Superman homepage live. So very cool. It's Guthrie. Very cool. Awesome. Go for it. All right. If you're in the UK, then you'll know what a black card is. I had to look up and see what the whole thing was. But if you've got some creative skills, the British Board of Film Classifications has launched an exciting opportunity for aspiring artists aged 12 to 16. So you can leave your mark on cinema history with the upcoming Superman movie. So they've partnered with Warner Brothers Pictures to invite young creatives to design the official black card for the upcoming Superman film. The winning design will be shown on screens nationwide before every screening of the film. And so create the card competition for 2025 for bbfc.co.uk/app for more information. If you're unfamiliar, BBFC black cards are the classification screens shown before every film in the UK or in cinemas. They display the film's age rating, content advice, and other important information that helps viewers make informed choices about what they watch. So there you go. Get involved if you're 12 to 16, or if you've got a child or a nephew, niece who is in that age range and has some creative skills. The details on how to enter are up on our website. So great way for fans to get involved in the UK.
Yeah, no, it's that's the black card thing is definitely a UK thing, because here it's. I mean, if they even tell you what the film is rated before the movie, it's you're kind of lucky. So yeah, that's a very British thing.
Very cool. All right. So now on to the merchandise side of things. Hot Toys gave us a sneak peek at their upcoming 1/6 scale Superman figure that is for the upcoming film. They just gave us this sneak peek. It's a 1/6 scale collectible figure coming soon. The piping is very prominent on this design,
Yes.
but it still looks very vibrant. I love the color, the S, the red and the yellow on the S there. But we'll let you know when this is available for pre-order. But this is a nice looking figure, even just from this sneak peek.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, what is it, like $1,500, and they made 5 of them?
I think you have to sell your kidney and to be able to afford it. But
Yeah.
we'll
Okay,
wait and see.
that works. That works too.
Yeah. But Mark has got his new cap there on today, and Concept One recently released a couple of new caps with designs based on the upcoming film. There's trucker hats, there's baseball caps for men, women, and children, and these are available to purchase through our online shop. Just go to supermanhomepage.com/shop. And you'll be able to see some of these and other designs that are coming out for the film in the form of baseball caps.
Yeah, I really wish I could wear them, but I have a weird head, as my wife points out to me on a rather regular basis. I have an egg head, which is fine. I'm not like mad about it. It's just baseball caps just kind of sit, and it doesn't really look good.
Yeah, it's not great for me either. I mean, I could wear. There's a couple that I could wear. Okay, this one I just put on now. This is the first time I put it on, so I'm still kind of adjusting to it. So I don't know if I should make it looser or tighter. I don't know, but
Well, they
I
say
do have trouble
Well,
with
first you
caps.
twist the hat, and then you
What do you
turn the
mean?
hat. There was a whole thing in the '90s. Remember?
Oh, jeez,
There
I
was
didn't
like a
wear
whole
hats really in
video
the
that.
movie.
one size fits
Oh, well,
most.
there you go.
Flat caps, they don't work for me. I like the traditional baseball with the bending.
Yeah, I like that too. But this
Yeah.
is I wanted to have this one.
Sith Happens asks in the comments, are any of us going to the Superman celebration in Metropolis, Illinois this year? I haven't been for a number of years. I am overdue to go back, but sadly, no plans to go this year. So I hadn't heard either of you guys saying that you'd been planning to go this year either.
No, it's not in the cards this year. Maybe next year. I'm kind of hoping. I definitely want to go in 2028, because that will be 20 years after I last went.
Yeah.
But it's just not in the cards this year.
No, fair enough. And Mark, you've
Yeah.
never been, have you?
I've never been there. No. Hopefully, I'll get there soon enough.
Yeah, no, I'd waiting to see what will happen with the premiere of the film, whether or not they'll send us an invite to go over and watch the premiere like we did with Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. But waiting to see if that happens, and that'll be in July. So going in June from Australia to the US and then coming back to go back in July just wouldn't make sense. So if you are interested, supermancelebration.net is the Superman Celebration official website. I know Dean Cain is one of the special guests this year, and there are others who are from the comic book world side of things as well. So it's definitely a fun 3 days if you're interested and available to go. But sadly, none of us will be there this year. All right, just looking still at some of the merchandise coming out. Merchoid now taking pre-orders for their Superman figure. That is a 12 centimeter tall Minix Superman figure, manufactured with high quality materials, resistant and safe for all ages. This is $31.99 US, which includes all taxes and shipping. So you can get yours through our website. Merchoid.com is where it's located. This is an interesting stylized type of Look at the character.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the most. Go ahead, Mark.
No, I'm just saying, are the heads supposed to be that big?
Yeah, that's not really in the likeness of David.
Yeah, yeah, it's not a good likeness at all.
He's got confidence, though. I mean, those arms are crossed, and he looks like he doesn't care what you think. This guy,
exactly.
This is like ultimate short man syndrome Superman. He's the one that just like is just constantly got a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, come at me, bro. All right, so that's available now to pre-order. And this one, it's from Spin Master. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about Spin Master coming out with those toothbrush, Superman movie merchandise items. Well, they've got a new action figure that's available only at the moment in Czechoslovakia, of all places. So Zarafa shop in Czechoslovakia has this available to pre-order on their website. It's 12 inches. It's an action figure, 12-inch action figure from Spin Master. It's got the costume. We don't know more than that because that's the only image that's available, but it's obviously got some articulation, some bending of the joints of the legs and the hips and what have you. But this is for ages 4 and up and is only currently available through the Zarafa shop website in Czechoslovakia, but we'll let you know if and when it becomes available in the US and other locations. But these action figures and statues and merchandise are just flying thick and fast at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Looking forward. Can't wait to walk into the store. Hopefully we'll be able to. Things are dodgy here at the moment in the United States with these type of things. So I'm a little worried about what's about to happen.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. There's also some stationery that I've seen for the upcoming film that's currently available, or showing that's available in Latin America areas. So we'll keep you posted as when we see any of this merchandise available to purchase and let you know about locations where you can buy it. All right, we're just over the halfway mark of tonight's show. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back on the flip side and do our regular segments. We've got the super secret soundbite. We've got the fan favorite segment. We've got This Week in History. We've also got some comic book stuff to talk about. So don't go anywhere. We've got plenty to get through in the second half hour of tonight's show. Stick with us.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program. Just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/Superman Homepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Coming from the farthest reaches of the universe to challenge the worst villains on Earth are the most powerful heroes ever in the battle of the Superpowers Collection. Can it be the Supermobile on the attack, the Lexor 7 armed with kryptonite? Will the Supermobile repel those deadly rays?
You bet. Ready for battle. Activate RAM.
New from Kenner's Superpowers Collection. Vehicles and figures with power action, each sold separately. Flying lessons for Penguin, fish bait for Luther. Can the Supermobile defeat the Lexor 7? You decide.
All right, we're back on Superman Homepage Live, where we're going to get into the regular segments of our show. We're going to start with our monthly segment, which is the super secret soundbite.
Only one thing alive with less than 4 legs can hear this frequency, Superman, and that's you.
All right, here was the super secret soundbite from last month. Have a listen.
Whoa, Ray, you are looking jacked.
No. It's your cousin, sort of.
So there was the sound. We only had one person guess it right, Michael. Who was that person and where was that sound from?
The sound was from Batwoman Season 1, Episode 9, which was Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2, and the person that guessed it right was Jamie Klingensmith.
Well done, Jamie. It's a name we haven't heard from before, so thank you, Jamie. Great to hear from you. And congratulations for guessing where in the world of Superman that sound came from. Here is our new super secret soundbite for this month. Let's see if more people can guess where in the world of Superman this sound comes from.
What's the matter, Kent? Too warm for you, huh? Hey, come on, chicken! Let me get you.
So do you think you know where in the world of Superman that sound came from? If you do, don't say anything right now if you're watching live. Head to supermanhomepage.com. Under the contact menu, you will find the super secret soundbite entry form. Fill out the form, send your entry in, and we will read out the names of each person who guesses it right. So that's supermanhomepage.com. Under the contact menu, super secret soundbite entry form. And we'll read out those names of everyone who guesses it right when we return to this segment at the end of May. All right, let's jump into the fan favorite segment of our show. All right, the fan favorite question from last month was, what was your favorite episode of the Crypto the Superdog animated series? We had a couple of people respond. Who was up first? I think it's Michael.
Yeah, Lorenzo Hot Takes Valdez wrote in. I hope you're feeling better, Michael. I am. It was weird. I don't get sick very often, so that was very strange. Did your illness at least trigger your latent super breath like Clark experienced in the Smallville episode Sneeze? No, it has messed up my voice a little bit. Like, for some reason, it goes deep for no reason. So I don't know what happened there, but yeah. I was smack dab. No, I'm not gonna do that the entire time. I was smack dab in the target age demo for Crypto the Superdog when it premiered in 2005, and I loved watching the show growing up. However, I have unfortunately not rewatched any episodes of it since their original airing, something I should really rectify, and I don't remember specific episodes particularly well, with the exception of the pilot. I will list said pilot as a favorite. I can read, I promise. I will list said pilot as a favorite episode of mine, given that Superman is in it, voiced by Smallville alum Michael Dangerfield. But I will also say that Streaky the Super Cat is my favorite super pet, and as much as I recall always getting excited when he would show up on the series, so whenever I do finally rewatch Crypto the Superdog, I'm guessing some Streaky-focused episode might also land at the top of my list of favorite episodes.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Excellent.
And JP Rocha wrote, because I have not seen the whole series, my favorite episode of Crypto the Superdog has to be Season 1, Episode 1's Crypto Scripto. This episode has a fun origin story for Crypto and a great Superman interaction at the end of the episode.
Very cool. Thank you, Lorenzo and JP. Well, obviously both remembering the pilot episode as their favorite. Oh, that's what they've sent in. So thank you for responding to the fan favorite question for this week. And our new fan favorite question, actually, do either of you guys have fond memories of watching Crypto the Superdog?
Never seen a single episode.
Wow.
No,
okay.
I don't think I have either. I think I saw like 2 minutes of it once. That was about it.
I remember seeing the opening credits on Cartoon Network as I was flipping through the channels back when you actually would flip through channels. And I bought the DVD that they released in 2006 right before Superman Returns, and it's just sat on my DVD shelf the entire time without watching it. Then again, I bought Superman Brainiac Attacks back then as well, and only just recently watched it a couple months ago.
That probably scarred you.
So, but no, I mean, I've had friends that watched it and really liked it. There apparently Ace the Bat Hound is really funny in it. With it as well. It's just not something that really appealed to me. I mean, I love Crypto, but apparently not enough to watch a kids series from the mid 2000s.
Now, I remember my nieces on my wife's side absolutely loving Crypto the Superdog, and would always watch it when they came over or had a sleepover. And so, yeah, I fondly remember watching quite a few episodes when they were a lot younger. Yeah, love obviously the pilot episode where Superman turns up and reunites with Crypto, but tells him that he should stay with Kevin, and because he's too busy. And so that's how the whole premise of Crypto and Kevin having a friendship, and Crypto not being with Superman the entire time. So yeah, very cool. If you haven't watched it, definitely worth checking out. All right, our new fan favorite question for this week is moving along the line. What is your favorite episode of the Legion of Superheroes animated series? If you want to get involved, the email address to send your responses to is info@supermanhomepage.com. That's info@supermanhomepage.com to let us know what your favorite episode of the Legion of Superheroes animated series is. All right, that's the fan favorite question. Let's jump straight into This Week in History.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bonds of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
All righty, we've got maybe like a pretty decent one for this week. It's not as packed as usual, but not overly packed either. We're starting in 1945 with World's Finest Comics number 18, and because it's a World's Finest comic from this era, you have Batman, Superman, and Robin doing absolutely nothing. Child endangerment, anyone?
So Robin is carrying Superman and Batman on his shoulders while he does a tightrope. That is impressive.
Yeah, it's very impressive, but health and safety would not let that fly today.
For a second there, I actually thought he was hanging by his neck, like that. It was under his chin.
that would be the all-star Batman and Robin version of Batman and Robin, that they would make it wear it on his neck. Also from 1945, we have Superman number 35, which, well, that's unsettling. That stash is just
that Henry
really
Cavill?
Upsetting. Yeah. This is what we could have gotten in that version of Justice League, y'all. They should have just left the mustache on. I think it would have been great.
Yeah.
Jumping ahead to 1955, we have Action Comics number 205, another one of those Superman mingles with the military type stories in here, which are always fun. We also have Adventure Comics number 213 this year, which we're still in the Superboy era, the junior jury of Smallville. Not quite into the glory days of the Silver Age yet. So we are still very much doing human interest stories at this point in both Superman and Superboy. 1965, we have Action Comics number 325 with an unsettling toddler who has grown to epic proportions because, of course, that happened. Adventure Comics number 333, The Civil War of the Legion. So we are now in the era where the Legion of Superheroes is the big thing for Adventure Comics. And we have there's a lot of World's Finest Comics this week, folks, just to warn you. Number 150, The Duel of the Super Gamblers. So again, really, guys, we got to get into the Silver Age soon and have something more exciting happening. 1975, Justice League of America number 121. Superman was a member at the time. This is the wedding, I believe, of Adam Strange and his lady love for Moran. So that's historic. 1985, we have Action Comics number 570. No. You're right. I was completely wrong about this. DC Comics presents. Which number is that? Because I can't read
it is 84.
84, which is Superman teaming up with the Challengers of the Unknown with a Jack Kirby cover, because Jack Kirby was actually doing stuff. Look at those trunks. Very much like the new movie, I might add. I'm just saying. Jumping ahead to... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go for it.
Oh, Action Comics number 700 and...
11.
Is that 15 or 16?
11.
11. See, peek behind the curtain, folks. I really just screwed up this week with
Only on these 2
This Week in
decades.
History and on these 2 decades. So we are basically at the tail end with Action Comics number 711 with the death of Clark Kent. And this was a really cool issue. Hashtag justice for Conduit, because I thought he was a great character. 2005, we had Adventures of Superman number 639, which is part of the whole Captain Marvel Superman team up and dealing with Eclipso with some really cool Ian Churchill arts. If you like long capes, this is the one for you. We also had Legend number 3. Now, I mentioned this not because it's technically Superman related, but this is the comic book adaptation that Wildstorm did back in 2005 of Philip Wiley's Gladiator novel. And it was written by Howard Chaykin, and he moved it up to the Vietnam War instead of having it in World War I. But this book, Gladiator, was a huge influence on Superman, so that's why I included it. And we have Superman Batman number 19, which is the backdoor pilot for the upcoming Supergirl series that will get reprinted as Supergirl number 0 in a couple months' time. Has Supergirl and Batman having some cool scenes in there. 2015, Convergence Action Comics number 1. Would you like to see the Red Sun Superman meeting up with the Earth 2 Superman? This is the book for you. This was a fun one. I actually reviewed this one back in the day. Because I was doing Action Comics at the time. We also have Justice League number 40, which is getting into the Darkseid War, which is a really good story. This Justice League was one of the few books of the New 52 that was consistently good. And Superman number 40, as we kind of get into the end, almost. This is the one that's right after Jeff Johns left, I believe, and was written by John Romita Jr.
Oh, my God. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but I called up on Radio KL Live and just ranted and raved about this issue. You may not remember. I just went off on this issue anyway.
There you go.
Yeah, I have to go back and reread this stuff because, with anything with Superman, I'm finding that as time goes on, it's not as bad like years later. Like, it's bad at the time, but then something else comes along that's kind of worse. I call this the Flash effect, because now I'm revisiting comic book films from like the early 2000s and going, this really wasn't all that bad because Flash was so terrible. So, maybe. Going into the real world, April 29th, Lane Smith, who was Perry White on Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, was born in 1936. Jimmy! There's my Lane Smith impersonation for everybody. Sam Jones III was born on the same day in 1983. May 1st, we have Win Mortimer, who was a Superman artist born in 1919. Drew a very famous cover, the first meeting of Superman and Batman in the comics. And Glenn Ford, who was Jonathan Kent in Superman the movie, was born in 1916. And we have a sad one to end on. May 3rd, Jackie Cooper in 2011 passed away. He was Perry White in the 4 Superman films, a steady presence through there, and got the job because the first guy had a heart attack when he got to England. Yeah. And Jackie Cooper had a passport, so he was able to fly there immediately and get in and get into the film. So
there you go.
But that's This Week in History.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Michael. We finally got around to doing one after a couple of weeks of me forgetting to insert our regular segments. So we've got the 3 segments done this week. So thank you very much for that. All right, let's look into the comic book side of things to wrap up the final 10 minutes of our show tonight. And this one caught a bit of interest from a lot of fans responding to the question. DC's YouTube channel posted a video asking DC's comic book writers, what's your favorite Superman story? Here's a little bit of that video.
My favorite Superman story of all time is Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow.
Oh, that gets me every single time.
It's about his idealism, it's about his vulnerability.
Where's Supergirl? Superman's like, she's in the past.
It's everything in 2 issues, and it is gorgeously drawn.
I think my favorite Superman story is Superman versus Muhammad Ali. And it was, as far as I was concerned, the 2 greatest guys in the world, Superman and Muhammad Ali, teaming up to save us all.
Oh, my favorite.
So that's just a bit of the video that you can watch the complete video up on our website. And so fans just went rampant responding with their favorite comic book stories. Do you guys want to weigh in?
Oh, jeez.
You go. Do you have one you want to go first with, Mark? Because I got a couple I can mention.
Oh, I've got quite a few. Jeez. Well, obviously the death and return of Superman would be my probably all-time favorite, but I mean I have others. I mean, going back to Superman Red and Superman Blue, the Silver Age story, the Elseworlds story. I always had a lot of fun with that, and also the Death of Superman Elseworlds story. Also, I believe that was written by Jerry Siegel. That's also a favorite. Wow, there's so many I can't even. Those just come to mind right away, but there's a million of them.
Michael,
my favorite is Exile, and it's my favorite for a couple reasons. One, it's a really well done multi-part story of Superman leaving Earth because he learns that he's had a psychological breakdown, and every time he goes to sleep he assumes the role of gangbuster, and he feels like he's a danger to society, so he leaves Earth. And it was the moment as a reader back when I was 12 years old that the Superman books went from being something that I did regularly to something that was essential. Like I had to get the next issue. I had to follow it. And it was also the storyline that I learned that comic shops got comics sooner than the newsstands here in the States at the time, back when that was a thing. But I am not shocked at all that Tom King's favorite story is Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. That's a sucker's bet of anybody who tried to put money on that, because I have a lot of opinions on that story as well, which I won't get into because we only have 8 more minutes in the episode, so that's not gonna. What about you, Steve?
So obviously, Death of Superman was a major one for me because that's like what kind of got me into it, the novelization, into heavily getting back into Superman from my childhood love of the character. But things like Superman for All Seasons is one that I always come back to as being one that I think is essential reading if you're interested in finding out just who the character is or what the character is about or why so many people love the character. So yeah, that would probably be the 2 that come to mind first and foremost.
I regret to have mentioned Lost Star Superman.
Oh, yeah,
Lost
that's
Star
another one up
Superman
there
is
as well.
one of my all-time favorites,
Yeah. So people in the comments, Steve Brown saying For the Man Who Has Everything. Mind the Gap saying, of course, Mark Waid said Superman owes $1 billion. And Mind the Gap also says, I liked For the Man Who Has Everything's adaptation more than the comic. So, yeah, interesting there. And, I do know in that Jeff Johns' Action Comics run, Oz made his first appearance as Mind the Gap. So, yeah, there's a couple of comments there from people who were talking about what some of their favourites were or what they remember. All right. Moving on. Michael, I don't think we touched on this one last week. You weren't here anyway, but Superman Ultimate 90s Flashback official colouring book. What is this going to be like a must-have for you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a coloring book totally dedicated. Like they got the long-haired Superman right there on the cover. I mean, it's going to be now. That's Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, praise be his name.
adaptation.
merchandising art. That's like the key art, and you got the Clark Kent down there. But yeah, this is I'm not the only one this is directed at, because when this popped, like all of my Triangle Era friends were like wigging out on social media. But no, I'm looking forward to this. I'll be picking it up and maybe even coloring in it, because it's just so funny. It's just so amusing that this is a thing. Like of all the things they could release, like of all the Superman coloring books that they could put out in the year of our Lord 2025 with a new Superman movie coming out, they chose the ultimate 90s version. That's just amazing.
Yeah, it's a adult coloring book featuring Superman's retro looks from the monumental decade of the 1990s. It's also got Superman, Lois Lane, Wonder Woman, Superboy, and many, many more characters featured in that. It is coming out July 15th, so right around the time the film is coming out. It will be $14.99 US, but you can pre-order yours through our website today if you're interested. Yeah, enjoy hours worth of coloring fun as you relive the past with your favorite childhood super friends.
Like, there was a meeting that was held to decide this. Like, somebody stood up and with their whole chest said, you know what we need to do? Ultimate 90s Superman. And somebody else in the meeting said, you know, we really need to break for lunch and we have to make this decision fast. So, okay, we'll go with it because I'm hungry. I think that's how it happened. I don't know. I may be wrong. I could be wrong.
There you have it. So, yeah, that's an interesting one. But yeah, the adult coloring book thing has been for a number of years a very popular way of people doing mindfulness and all that kind of stuff. Seems to be a way of kind of checking out for a while and taking a bit of personal time. And what better way to do it than with Superman from the 1990s? All right, well, we are just at the end of our show tonight. Before we wrap up, anything you guys want to throw in, any kind of personal notes that you think fans would like to know about what you're doing? I see, Michael, you've been doing a few little shorts asking questions on your social media channels.
Yeah, I've recently started playing on TikTok and basically doing a post a day leading up to the release of James Gunn's Superman, and I'm just asking a question every day. And I'm not getting thousands of views. I mean, it's the view counts are very small, but I'm getting some traction on both TikTok and Instagram because I share it there too. Nice. So if you're on TikTok, follow me because that'll and watch the videos, like them, repost them, etc. Because there's a whole thing with TikTok that your videos get pushed to the FYP page, which would be the For You page. The FYP, the more views and the more interactions you get with those videos.
Yeah. And talking about interactions and sharing and liking things, make sure you subscribe to the Superman homepage channels that you're on right now if you want to make sure you don't miss out on any of the upcoming content. We have Steve Brown asking, what is your TikTok name, Michael?
It is Michael Bailey FOB, which stands for Fortress of Baileytude. So
there you go, Michael Bailey FOB. All right, well, that brings us to the end of tonight's episode. Before we turn off or finish up, I should say, thank you to everyone for tuning in to Superman Homepage Live. We appreciate you spending the past hour with us. Thank you to my two co-hosts, Michael Bailey. Thank you very much.
Pleasure as always, Steve.
Mark Lax, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray and Rick Schutzow. Thank you so much for your support. Remember, the 1 hour video of tonight's show will remain up on supermanhomepage.com and on our YouTube channel. If maybe you tuned in late, missed out part of the show, wanted to watch it all over again, you can do so at those two locations. Don't forget, we'll be back next week on Monday, May 5th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. We hope you'll join us then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice. On behalf of myself, Michael Bailey, Mark Lax, thanks for watching Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com. Good night.